So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, my best friend actually, and we are talking about the fear of the Lord and how in our Western American context specifically, which is at the very least what I can speak to as a Western American, right? Um, that sentence kind of doesn't make any like it. We don't know what that means, right? Like the fear of the Lord just seems strange. And yes, if you've done some Bible study on it, you've probably heard a sermon on it. There's a lot of good resources out there on the topic. But there's just also a lot of people, myself included, that just, you stumble across that passage, you stumble across a proverb or something of that nature, and you're just like, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom? Like, what? I need to be afraid of Jesus? Like, what about the whole perfect love casts out all fear? Like, what? I don't understand. I'm supposed to be scared of him? What about fear comes from punishment? Like, what? Huh? I don't understand. And I think that one of the things that's happening, there's a lot of things happening, but one of the things that's happening that my best friend and I were talking about was just this concept of fear in other languages having more to do than just punishment. And that doesn't mean English doesn't have that. It's just the kind of gut reaction that we have at the very least was this like, I need to be afraid of you because you're going to hurt me sort of idea. And so I was talking about one of the words I like instead of fear is revere. The reverence to revere the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Reverence. I think my wife said holy respect. She liked that. Just different synonyms to try to get at the same point. There's the late great Timothy J. Keller gave an example in a sermon of his one time about a lady who comes in with a piece of jewelry to a jeweler to see if it's valuable. Hey, this has been in my family for generations. It's just been sitting up in the attic. Like, haven't really been doing anything with it. So is it of any value? And the jeweler takes a look at it and immediately says, I will sell you everything. I will give you everything in my store. Everything. Worth millions and millions of dollars if you'll just let me have this. And she says, no, I think I'll keep it. It's been in my family for a long time. But the way she then treats that piece of jewelry is very different than the way she was treating it. It's not just sitting on a shelf collecting dust, because she recognizes its value. And to some extent, the set apartness of God, of who he is and his holiness, is something to be revered because we see the value of it. It's almost like we're overwhelmed, like the jeweler is overwhelmed. I'll sell everything I have if I could just have that one thing. We're so overwhelmed by who God is and his love and his mercy and his grace for us that nothing else even comes close to comparison, especially when we pair that love and that grace and that mercy, that faithfulness with his power. Right? So much of the world is the might makes right, and the powerful just do as they please. I'm a big fan of fantasy and sci-fi and these sorts of books, and that genre I like a lot. And one of the main things that you see over and over and over again is this fear of something that is more powerful than not a person, but humanity. Now that might be dragons, that might be artificial intelligence, but anything that comes up and says, oh, actually, I'm more powerful than all of humanity, immediately creates this like internal crisis in these stories that say, oh no, we need to protect ourselves. And so to take that power where God is the creator of the universe, right? The clay doesn't say to the potter, how dare you make me into this or into that. It doesn't have a say. It's clay. The potter has the say. He's the creator. He has the say. We don't have a say. But then for him to come down and be at his core merciful and gracious, abounding in faithfulness, slow to anger, steadfast in his love, to put those together is mind-boggling. It's more than we can handle, and we just stand in awe. That is fear of the Lord, or at least some piece of comprehending. Now, I think there are a lot of people out there who would give you a much better illustration, or explain that illustration much better and provide all the nuance and maybe more concise and organized manner that are more helpful. But hopefully those ideas can get you thinking about fear of the Lord, so that when you encounter it in the scriptures, instead of kind of knee-jerk going, what? You need me to be afraid that you're going to hurt me? That's where wisdom is? Huh? How does that work? You can have this knee-jerk to say, how am I in awe of him here? So the beginning of wisdom is to recognize God for who he is. Because if he's really who he says he is, gracious and merciful, abounding in faithfulness, steadfast in love, slow to anger, then that changes who I am. That changes how I interact with people. That changes how I interact with the world, the environment, animals, plants, everything. It changes everything. And then I get a hint of, oh, no wonder this is the beginning of wisdom. Like, no wonder this is the start. And so hopefully that's helpful to you. Was a thought I had this morning as my best friend and I are going through the book of Proverbs together.